and life planning, right? So you all know me, but Pinky Shah, Fairway Mortgage, right? And what we're gonna, a passion of mine is making sure that we are always growing and building a business and a life that we want in our life, right? And that we're not being reactive. So the average person does not plan, right? You wake up in the morning and you see your emails, you look at your Facebook, you look at your Instagram, and you look at the news feed, and then you let that guide your day, right? And set your mood for the day. That's what most people do. But you guys aren't most people, right? We want to be extraordinary. We're not looking to be ordinary. So we're looking to be extraordinary here. And so to be extraordinary, you've got to plan for it. It doesn't happen by chance, right? It happens very purposefully. And so obviously 2020, nobody planned for this, right? And the best planners in the world, their plans fell apart, right? Because it just couldn't happen with obviously the circumstances of the pandemic. So things are going to happen and throw us off course, but if we have a plan, it helps us stay focused, right? It helps us give us a place to go back to. It gives us a compass, because life is going to throw challenges at us, you know, more than ever we learned this year, right? I know everyone's had, besides the pandemic, other things going on personally that have not been what you planned for the year to be. So if we have this compass that guides us back, then it helps lead us into having a life and a purposeful life. So when you look back, you're like, okay, it's all good. Like, I know where I'm going, I know what I'm doing, and I feel good about what I've accomplished. Is that a feeling that would make you happy, right? So that's what we want to focus on right now, is helping you get to that place. So one of the first things I want to start with is I'm part of this coaching group, and it's really cool. They've got this wonderful motto or mission, I'm going to call it. And I'm going to read that to you guys because I just love it, and it fires me up every single time that I hear it and see it. So I'm going to share that with you guys as a way to set our tone here. I'm going to find my mouse. Okay. So you just like close your eyes and kind of just listen to this. It's really powerful. I was created for more. I was not designed to be one of the rabble, existing on crumbs dropped by others. I am not physically. Can you guys hear me okay? I think there was some disturbance, right? Okay. I gotta start again, sorry. I was created for more. I was not designed to be one of the rabble, existing on crumbs dropped by others. I am not physically weak or mentally inferior. The history of my industry is not the history of me. Only I can determine my history, and though others may never understand this reality, I have chosen to write that history beginning now. Never again will I live as though my results were dependent upon the momentum of my peers. Neither are they tied to the economy or what the experts have decided is possible. I decide what is possible. I am the author of my future. My future begins now. I am prepared. I am alert. It is time. Today, I throw off the shackles of safety, for safety exists only for those who remain behind the lines of combat. The strong spirit that I possess understands that consistent increase comes to those who embrace today's struggles. So let the lesser among us cower in the background. I will run to the roar of the battle where my history is assured. What'd you guys think? Powerful, right? So, yeah, I love that because it gets me fired up when I hear that, and it reminds me not to be ordinary. It reminds me that I am in full control of my life, right? And I want you guys to feel that same control. So we're going to start with a couple of things, right? First of all, I think there's one huge, if you guys don't already have a pen and paper, grab some pen and paper. We're going to be writing, and I want this to be really impactful for you. I want you guys to leave today feeling excited about what's coming ahead in your life for you, okay? We're not going to be able to complete the entire business plan for you, of course, right? But what we're going to do is, my goal is to get you fired up and started so that you can go off and complete it afterwards. Does that sound like good? Would you be happy if that's what we can accomplish here? Okay. All right, cool. So everyone have paper, right? So what we're going to start with is gratitude and appreciation. And the reason we're going to do that, and you all know I'm a big fan of, you know, I believe gratitude is an essential part of success, quite frankly, right? And happiness and fulfillment. But with respect to this, the reason that we're going to focus on gratitude is because it also, when you're in a grateful state of mind, you're actually more creative also. So gratitude can never exist in the same place as fear or anger, okay? So if our mind is in a grateful state, then it is easier for us to think creatively and think about exploring in a better way. So what I'm going to ask you to do is I want you to take a couple minutes, take your piece of paper, and I'd like for you to write, and you can do it like this as a wheel. I'm going to send you a handout afterwards that I created, by the way, that you guys can really fully work on it. We're going to kind of dip into this stuff, and then I'd like you to really take some time and focus and do it afterwards also. But what we're going to do is you can do it as a gratitude wheel, but just for now, just write it like a list, and I want you to just brainstorm, and I want you to think about what is going well, okay? What is going well, and be generous with yourself, okay? I know that as high achievers, we're all super critical of ourselves, right? And we think about what hasn't happened rather than what happened. Maybe you had a goal to hit 20 deals and then you hit 19 and all you're thinking about is the one that you didn't get rather than the 19 that you did get. So think about the positive and get a piece of paper. I'm going to give you a couple minutes and I'd love to see, just keep writing. And it could be personal, it could be professional, it could be little things, it could be big things, but see what you have accomplished and what is going well, and just start writing. Start writing. So I'm going to start a little timer on my phone here and just keep writing, and you have to write the whole time, okay? That's the deal. You have to write the entire time. So go. Whatever you're grateful for. Think about maybe little wins. Maybe you had a client that you were able to have a conversation with in a stronger way than you might have before. Maybe you're able to set expectations better. Maybe you hit your numbers. Maybe you hit your numbers on listings, on buyers. You know, maybe you got a deal that you raised your average price. And it could be little wins. Maybe you help somebody at the office. Maybe you help someone else have a better success, right? So what do you feel good about when you look back on 2020? What makes you feel good? And think about your personal life too. Are there people that you touched that you're feeling really proud of that told you what they did for, what you were able to do for them? Is there a family member that you were able to help? Is there a friend? And if it helps, look at yourself from the outside. Because remember, we just had the conversation about how critical we are of ourselves. So what if people complimented you on? Good, keep thinking some more. If you're starting to run out, think in different categories of your life. What have you accomplished in health and fitness? And again, focus on what you have accomplished, not what you have not. This is the goal of this is to focus on the positive. Relationships, spiritual. Maybe you've taken up a hobby or a skill that you've gotten stronger at. Good, your biggest wins. Awesome, awesome. So my timer's up, but you guys want to keep going. I am happy to have you keep going because this is good. Hopefully you're feeling good about yourself now, right? Are you proud of everything you've been able to accomplish when you see this list? Joanne, if you're saying something I can't hear, you're muted. Oh, okay, got it. Okay, cool. So I hope that that's got you feeling positive and happy about what you've been able to do. Now, of those things that you put down on paper, what are you feeling most proud of? Are there 2 or 3 that you're like, yes, like that is super, super big win for me. Like, I'm so happy I was able to do that. Is there something that you can think of when you look back on that list that you're like, these are my big wins for the year? So if you want to circle them, highlight them, put an arrow next to them, something to help you kind of feel like these are really, really awesome. And I'm really happy that I was able to do that. I'm really proud of myself for doing this. Then next, I want you to think about, and you know, this would be nice if we can all share too on this one. What is the best resource or tool that you used this year? Is there, it could be a tool, it could be a skill, it can be whatever it may be. Is there something this year that you're like, excuse me, super happy that was a resource for you? And it could be like a way of saying something, a new technique that you used or anything at all. That you used this year that you're like, this was something that I'm really happy that I had available to me in 2020 to be able to do what I was doing. So would love for you guys to all share what your tool is that you want, or resource, and if you want to go ahead, yeah. Like someone was about to say something, no? Should I just call on you guys, or you want to go with your own? Keith, you want to give us share? You want to start the sharing? I know they say ladies first, but you're only the guys, so we're going to do men first today.
Okay, I'm going to share from the first group. I was able to help a client yesterday overcome an obstacle that seemed at first insurmountable, but we worked through it and got behind us.
Nice. Congratulations. Good. And has there been a resource in 2019 or 2020 that you're like really happy that you had available this year?
Well, I just got a brand new, very fast computer that's very helpful.
Perfect. Okay, cool. Awesome. Thank you for sharing, Keith, and thank you for being the first. Appreciate that.
Sure.
Who wants to go next? Someone's got some good music there. Okay, Nita, you want to go?
Well, this is not regarding the real estate business, but something else that I feel much, I feel really good about it, because I have like a few backgrounds. You know, I was a IT, then I went into finance, and now I'm in real estate. So basically, you know, knowledge is very, very important, and I read a lot. So lately I have started not helping, like voluntary work. Okay, if someone needs to know about some finances or something about the stock market, you know, it's like very simple. I'm not a stockbroker, but I have a knowledge. So I have a few neighbors. Then they ask me, and I say, why don't you come down? And I help them. And I feel good about it, and they are very happy. And it makes me feel good that I'm doing this kind of a volunteer work. You know, whatever knowledge I have, and if I help them, I pass on to them, and they benefit, and I get happy. I become happy.
Yes. Nice. Well, good job on trying something new and taking that on and helping other people, Nita. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So who wants to go next?
I'll go next.
Okay. Joanne, let's hear it.
Well, for one, I'm very happy. I actually finally passed, I took it the second time, my life insurance producer license. Nice. I got that this year. During pandemic, I was afraid to go out and show homes. So I used that time to finish my broker's class, 150 hours. So I'm happy that I got that done. I'm not sure if you know that I was elected president-elect for Women's Council of
See that?
Middlesex. I'm very happy about that. And I switched brokerage from Weichert to Keller Williams, and I just closed my first closing with Keller Williams Monday. So I'm very happy about that, and I'm happy for the change. And they're very helpful, and it's a good fit for me there.
Awesome.
And I have a lot more, but I don't want to take over the call, so I'll let other people get their chance.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. That was great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Nina?
Hi. So I guess for me, I'm almost afraid to say the word proud because I don't know, I'm pretty hard on myself, but I would say for me this year, a big deal for me was joining Facebook and being active with the very little members that I have. I've never been one to be very open and upfront and say, please give me a referral. And yet my sphere has given me so much so that I am really grateful for that. And it seems such an easy thing, but it took me how many years to get on Facebook and make that network connection. And now I have people, I guess, I don't even know the lingo, not FaceTiming, DMing me, messaging me. So, it's nice. And I did get a lead off of it within the first week that I started, and I just started a month ago. So I am proud of finally being able to do that.
Excellent. And I'm proud of you for being proud of yourself. That's a huge win, I think, for you.
Yeah, that is a huge win for me. And it's related. So you can do Facebook, you can do LinkedIn, you can do Twitter, you can do Instagram. All those forms of social media are so easy to do. And it turns out to be like this hidden resource because you get to stay in front of your clients without being in front of their face all the time. So you don't have to make those calls. You just have to check in through the social media platforms.
Yeah. Well, congratulations. Huge win for you. Happy to hear that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. Natalie, you want to go?
Sure. So I have a couple exciting things that happened this year for me. One was I lost weight.
Congratulations.
About 16 pounds, still going. The other thing is I joined a team. I was nervous. I've only been licensed for over a year, so I was nervous about joining a team. But since I joined the team a couple of months ago, I have more accountability and I have a bigger support. So I've already gotten 2 listings from joining a team. So that's exciting. And we're closing on our first house on the 28th.
Oh, very nice. Very
Yeah,
nice.
so those are our 3 main big things that we've had happen this year, despite having, going through the pandemic and things.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, congratulations. Thank you all for sharing. You're all, doing awesome. And I'm happy that you're able to reflect on what's been in a tough year, right? Obviously, this year has been just super difficult on everybody in so many different ways, emotionally, spiritually, just everything. It's been a very challenging year. And there's always silver linings. That's my motto. There's always silver linings and there's always things. I mean, Joanne used this opportunity to go get some education that she'd been wanting for herself, right? So there's always things that we can do. And Nina took the time to learn Facebook, right? So, I mean, it's really cool that the things that can happen when we use that power for good. So thank you for doing that. So let's, for sharing, and I'm sure there's more. We couldn't get to all of it. But the next thing I want to talk about is, so moving forward, right? We have to have a vision, right? We have to have a purpose, right? We have to know where we're going. We started talking about this, right? And that's what we're talking about doing here is having some compass and a way that we understand what's really important to us and where we want to go from here. So, So we've got to think about, at the end of the day, what's really, really important to you, right? Now, I know we're calling this a business planning session, so obviously business is important because you're here, but you cannot be successful in business without being happy in life, right? So there's a whole balance. I don't know if you've ever seen the wheel, but there's like a wheel of life that a lot of folks use. And it has, your business, your finances on it, but it has your health, it has your relationships, it has your spiritual side, all the other parts of a life that make you full as a human being. And there's going to be different things that are important, and the business can be one conduit through which you obviously make yourself successful and happy in that component, but that you make yourself happy all around. So we've got to think about what's truly, truly important to us in all the different areas of our life, right? And as we think about that, then we can think about how we want to plan for the year ahead once we have identified what's really important to us, right? We can make a plan for business, right? And hopefully you guys have had some record years, you know, also, and things have just been really good. And if you have, and maybe if this wasn't your record, you've had another record year. And that record year, if you look back on it and you think all I did was work, it's not going to make you want to keep going, right? Because you're going to be left empty in other places in your life. So what we want is that you feel filled everywhere in your life, not just in one aspect of it. So I'd like you to take a minute, take out that piece of paper again, and think about what's really, really important to you, right? What is most critical for you? And again, think about all the different aspects of your life. And this year coming up, what is it that you really, really want for yourself in all those areas of life? And then let's prioritize them too and say, okay, which one is, you know, going to be most important? So I'm going to set a timer again so you guys start jotting. I'm going to take out my timer, give you 2 minutes to get started on this. All right, go. Natalie, buying a house probably was on your list earlier, Natalie, right? So you've done that. So maybe if someone else wants to buy an investment property or the next home, upgrade, whatever it may be, and maybe you've got plans for what you want in the house, Natalie, right? So write down those goals of what's important to you. And maybe as a parent, right, you might have some parenting goals of things that you want to accomplish. Maybe someone wants to start a team. So write those down. Those are ideas. It could be health goals, right? Losing more weight possibly, or whatever it may be on that front, or and it could be big things, little things again, right? But then, and then I want you to think about what's most important as you're writing those down. You want to have at least 10 things of things that you want, I would say, as a, you know, for yourself across the different parts of your life. Things that you want to achieve, maybe that you haven't even attempted yet, right? Don't limit yourself by thinking about how to make it possible. Don't limit yourself by thinking about what's achievable. Be limitless in your goals right now. We'll figure out the why later, or the how later. Right now is about just thinking about what you want. Maybe you want to buy a second home, a vacation home. You want to close 200 deals a year. And if you're nowhere near that, thinking that's impossible, stop and just write it down if that's your goal. What about relationships? Are there any relationship goals you have? And health goals. Spiritual goals. Hobbies you want to pick up. Languages you want to learn. Okay, we're good. We have a list. My timer went off. Do we have a fairly solid list right now? Different goals? Yes? I'm seeing some head nods. Okay, cool. So what I'd like for you to look at now is, of that list, what really gets you fired up when you look at it, right? There's gonna be some goals that you wrote because you thought you should, but there's some goals that you look at and you're like, whoa, like that would be so amazing if I can do that. So look at that list and prioritize that list now. So if you can prioritize that list and write, at a minimum, if you can definitely do like the top 3 or so on that list, Then, or actually, you know what, if you've got, do you all have at least a list of about 10? Yes? Okay, great. So prioritize them and get at least the first 5 in order of what's most important to you on that list that you created. Okay, so we've got some priorities listed out there, right? So now that we've got our destination in mind, right? So now you guys have identified destinations for yourself and what the top are. And again, as I said, we're doing this obviously rather quickly. I'm going to encourage you to, and I'll give you some ideas afterwards about how to really plan this out better, but I want to get the stream of thought going here. So what, now that we have our destination in mind, it's how are we going to get there, right? So if I was taking a trip and I was going to be driving to Tennessee, right? I'm just going to get in the car and we know that it's going to be a 10 or 12 hour ride. I don't even know how far it is, but it's a long way as far as I know. And I know that that's where I got to go. So, but what happens along the way 1,000 times, right? You get that question, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet, right? So, and if I don't, 2 things about that, right? I've got to have a route planned on how I'm going to get there, first of all. Because if I just started driving, I could end up in Boston, I could end up in California, right? But I have to know how to get to Tennessee. I have to have some idea of how I'm going to get to Tennessee. And if I hit a detour along the way, then I take another road, right? I don't say I'm not going to Tennessee anymore. I say, okay, let me find another road because I want to get to Tennessee, right? I want to go see those Smoky Mountains. Like, so I know that's what I want to do. So if there's a detour along the road, I'm going to take a side turn. I'm going to find another way to get there. So we know those roadblocks and detours are going to happen as we try to get to our goal. And we know that we're going to be saying, are we there yet? Are we there yet along the way, right? Because that's just what happens when we have a goal. So what's important is to come up with that first route, first of all, right? Know what the route is. Know why this goal is important to you. If you know why this goal is important to you, have a real purpose for accomplishing this goal, you will look for those detours, right? You will look for those alternate routes when those roadblocks come up. But if I truly didn't care about going to the Smoky Mountains, I would turn around and go back the other way. I would go someplace else and I would stop in Maryland and just say, I'm done. I don't even know if that's on the way. My geography is clearly horrible, so, but you know, I would just stop where I am or turn around and go back if I didn't really, really care and was not passionate about going hiking in those mountains personally, right? So you've got to have a strong purpose for your goals. So if we don't have a strong purpose, it doesn't drive us to action. It doesn't drive us to find alternate ways. So as you're looking at these goals, I'm going to ask you afterwards to think about why you want them, okay? Why these goals matter to you. You may have set a figure for yourself on income, for example. And if there's no real driver behind that figure, there's no real motivation, and it's just, well, it just seems like it's what I should do, and it's a goal that I should set for myself. You're not going to do what it takes to make it happen then, right? It's just the way that Neetha was talking earlier about her husband finding a way to use Zoom to help his patients. He had a true passion for helping his clients, right? And that meant so much to him that he did not want to stop, and he did not let the pandemic stop him because it mattered that much to him that he found another way. But if he didn't, he wouldn't have bothered to learn how to do it. So we've got to have that strong purpose in understanding what the goals are to do that. And then, as I said, and then we've got to figure out the path to it. And then we'll be open to other ways once we have that strong purpose. So this is something we're not going to do this together right now just because it would take too long. But think about how once you've got your strong, so the goals that you've set for yourself now, go back and look at the whys on them, write out why you want those goals, why they matter to you. And then we're going to go back, and here's what we're going to do after that. We're going to have you go to a place where you can then figure out what are these outcomes that I want, right? Outcomes will be the goals. Who do I need to be to accomplish these goals? Which is important, right? Because if we are the type of person who is fearful all the time, and we have these bold goals for ourselves, it's going to be hard to accomplish that. So it might be, I need to be a certain way. So for myself, for example, I put down that I need to be committed, I need to be accepting, and I need to be decisive. So those 3 characteristics are important to me to accomplish the goals that I've set for myself. So, and I have that, and as you said, I just spit them out because I look at this every day then. And I know that I need to be, these are the 3 characteristics that I need to embody. So when I find myself not being decisive, and that's my biggest weakness, quite frankly, is indecision, because I want to do it all. So I know that I need to go back and I have to be decisive if I'm going to get to my destination. And so I catch myself and I know that that's something that's important for me. So I've set those disciplines in place for myself to say, this is what needs to happen in order for me to get the outcome that I say that I want in my life. And then as you do that, then it's, okay, we have to break it down, right? Because it doesn't all happen. If we set a 12-month goal for ourselves, we can't say come December 9th, say, okay, shoot, I better work on it now, right? So what we want to do then is take that one, we need to take that 1-year goal and then break it down into quarters. There's a book called The 12-Week Year, if you haven't read it. And that talks about breaking things down into quarters. So, but if we then take that goal and break it down and say, okay, what needs to happen in quarter 1 if I'm going to accomplish this by end of 2021? So then we can break that down and look at it that way and then think about, and then we have to think about what actions need to happen, right? So now we know what the outcome is. We know why we want that outcome. We know who we have to be to get that outcome. And then we can think about the roadmap and say what actions are taking, what projects need to happen in order for me to get there. And then you want to break it down into something as a 1-page final product. And you want a 1-page final product because you want to be able to take that with you everywhere and look at it on a regular basis. If you don't look at it on a regular basis, it's really hard to hit it because you might forget and get off track. And I'm going to share with you, I use a full focus planner. It's my planner. It's a quarterly thing. And the first page of it is my annual goals. And so I make it a habit every week when I'm doing my weekly planning to go back and look at my annual goals. And so as I'm planning my week, then I say, oh, like one of my goals is to help my mom walk half a mile without any pain. So I know that that's one of my goals. And so as I'm planning my week, I was like, oh, I better find time to make sure I make time to get over to see my mom so I can help her work on that goal. But if I didn't look at this, I would forget and get caught up in, and I don't know about you guys, for me, what I get caught up in the most is work. Like I'm a workaholic and I have to work not to be. And so my default when I'm not doing anything is to come work. So I need to really work hard to make sure that I keep my other priorities in check. Otherwise, all I would do would be a great businesswoman and not have the rest of my life. And then I would not be happy, right? When I am on my deathbed, I don't want to be thinking I was the best mortgage lender in the world. That's not going to leave me happy, right? But if I know that I was the best mom in the world and the best daughter and the best wife and the best friend and like all the other things that I want to be in my life, in addition to being the best mortgage lender, then I would be much happier, right? Then I can go in peace knowing that I lived a good life and I was helping other people and doing what I want to do. So I have to keep track of those things. And so you're going to have your own things, right? You might have different things that drive you, that is your default, but is not going to leave you super happy at the end of the day. So think about what those goals are for yourself and keep them forefront. And that's why we say make it into a 1-page. If you make it into a 1-page, then you can keep it with you everywhere. So what I just showed you was my goals. It wasn't my 1-page, but this is something that just is with me all the day. You'll never see me without this. And it's because I've got everything in there and it helps me stay focused on a regular basis to what I'm looking to accomplish. Again, it's that compass that we talked about, right? Having a compass and grounding yourself. Because I could wait, like, quite frankly, I did. I came in this morning and I try not to look at my email first thing, but it's a habit that I've been trying to break, but I did. And I was kind of glad that I did because I saw that there was a problem on a loan that we're looking to close soon. And it totally threw me out of state, right? I was like all ready and excited for you guys. And then I saw this and I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do this? And so I got into this different place, right? And I became reactive to this. And now if I hadn't done anything, I have a team. They were going to handle it, right? So I'm fortunate. I do have people really smart people that know what they're doing. But because I saw that, I became reactive all of a sudden. And I probably, if anything, caused problems because they had it and I'm trying to get in the middle of trying to, do something on it. So I let that start my day in a wrong way because I looked at that rather than being more intentional about my day. So it happens. It's a hard habit to break. I'll be the first to tell you that because I just did it to myself this morning. But then I was able to look at this. And so what I did is I went and I looked at my goals. I went and thought about you guys and I said, I need to get myself into a better place so I can be here and really deliver for you guys, right? So in having my business plan, having my mission, having my vision clearly defined and outlined helped me do that. If I didn't have that clearly defined, then it would have been really hard. And I would have said, maybe I should just cancel, or like there's all these other things that could have happened, right? But because I knew what my intention is, I have a huge purpose, right? To make sure that I serve my partners and my agents and I make a difference in people's lives. And so because I had that mission in front of me, it helped me do what I needed to do. Make sense? So, so strongly, strongly encourage you to have a one-pager. And as I said, I am going to send to you guys a follow-up like workbook, I'm gonna call it. It has more than what we're going through here. And what I'm going to encourage you guys to do now is to really set aside time. And don't do it in your house. Don't do it where you normally work. I'd like you to go to a different place. Change the scenery. Get yourself into a different mindset. Obviously it's a little bit more challenging right now with COVID, right? But if you get, and if the weather is nice, it'd be great to go to a park or go to like a lake or someplace where it just makes you feel zen and at home, right? And like just really good about yourself. But go someplace that's gonna at least be a different environment and sit down and like turn off your phone, tell whoever you need to tell your kids, tell your husband, tell your spouses, tell your office, whoever you need to that is likely to bother you, that you are unavailable for the next 3 hours. And then spend time. I always like to start with a little bit of, as I said, gratitude and like just meditation. Take some deep breaths, get yourself into the right place, clear your mind a little bit before you go into this practice, because again, you want to be open, you want to be creative, you want to give yourself a place so that you can really serve yourself well. And if you serve yourself well, then you get to serve everyone else even better, right? So I know for those of us in this group who like to put everyone else before us, spending this time on you helps you serve everyone around you even better, okay? So, so go do that, and then go work on this project, and I'll give you this workbook that can be your guide through the project, right? And then spend some time and then just, as I said, don't use technology while you're there. Bring like an egg timer if you want for yourself as a timer, if you need a timer, but try not to use your phone as your timer, because if you're like me, you go to the timer and all of a sudden you see the little notifications, you're like, well, I'll just check that, right? So exercise discipline with yourself when it comes to that. So I'll send you that workbook. And then, what's really great is what I have up here is a vision board, right? If you haven't done this, a vision board is a phenomenal idea, and one to do, I know, Natalie, you guys have kids, like do it with your kids, and join even your adult kids. It'd be great to do it with them, right? And to do a vision board and put together what you want, what you've now written out. You've got your one pager, and then you've got this board. Put this board where you're going to see it every single day. I have my vision board outside my closet in my bedroom. It's not sightly. So if you're a home decorator and you're looking for it, it's probably not the thing you want to put up. No home decorator is going to tell me that I should have up there because it takes away from the room. But I look at it every day, and as I'm looking at it, and it reminds me of something, and I take different actions because I see it every day. Right? So as I'm about to do something, I'll look at it and be like, and I'll pick up the phone, and maybe I'll call my mom because it was on my list to make sure that I focus on my relationship with her. Right? And I may not have thought to do that if I hadn't just caught that quick picture of my mom on that vision board. Or maybe I'll work out because I've got a picture of that. Or maybe I'll go for a run because I have a goal of running a certain time and a certain whatever. So whatever it may be, like you've got to have your goals. And if you see them visually, it just comes like that, and it helps you focus your activities for the day. So that would be another thing to say, help yourself do. And then, as I said, break it out into quarters, right? I'm also going to give you, know your numbers too. So when it comes to the business part of it, know your numbers going into it. So if you guys don't, you want to start tracking how many leads you get a week, how many of those you actually convert, where they're coming from, like knowing things like that helps you plan. So I go back and I pull this time of year, I'm going to go back and I'm going to pull my reports and say, okay, where did all of our business come from? How, and then I'll see that they came largely from X channel or Y channel. Then I can say, okay, do I need to do things differently, right? This is really working well. I need to make sure that I'm spending more of my time here. Maybe I'm spending a ton of time on CPAs, right? And trying to market to those guys, but I notice that none of my business is coming from there. So then I need to say, okay, that didn't work, what I was doing. If I think that channel is important, I need to rethink my strategy on that, right? Or maybe I've done tons of classes, right? And nothing's coming from, so then I've got to figure that out, right? Too. So it's about basically figuring out what's working and what's not working, but unless you've tracked it, you can't do anything about it. You've probably heard of it, what gets measured happens, right? So if we're measuring this, then we can make improvements. So I'll give you something too to be able to track, and it's going to be a tracker for also volume, but also, you know, other things like that. And it'll give you reminders of other things to look at, and then identifying your pillars, and then being able to say, okay, I know that I am a part of this church group, for example, right? And I know that I'm spending a certain amount of time and effort onto that. And I would expect that from my relationships there, I'm going to generate 5 closed deals, right? And my goal is that to generate another deal from this networking group that I'm a part of, and another 10 from my past clients. So if you can identify and break out your number accordingly and say, if my goal is to close 30 transactions next year, where am I expecting those 30 to come from by group? And then you can say, okay, if I've got the majority of mine coming from my sphere of influence and my past clients, what am I doing? Am I spending my time and my effort to make sure that that happens? We don't want life to happen to us, right? We don't want it to be by chance that life is happening and that we're successful. We want it to be purposeful. And if you do happen to be successful without the effort, that's great. But imagine what can happen if you are intentional about it then. Yeah. So, and that's the entire point of all this, is to really, really be intentional about what we're doing. Intentionality, intentionality is really, really, I think, my word of the year, because, you know, we have to be purposeful, and if we're not, we don't get where we want to go. Now, in the spirit of all this, what's really, really important too is having routines. I say this probably almost at like a lot of the sessions that I do, but a lot of people don't end up doing it, right? But there's a certain epidemic around us in the industries that we're in of not sleeping and thinking that it's great to be workaholics and that it's great to not get enough rest, right? And we think that we're available 24/7, so we're so fantastic, right? And that, but we need to care for ourselves. We need to care for ourselves so we can serve others well. So there's 1,001 studies that show high producers tend to get up early in the morning, right? I can reference like 20 different books that talk about high producers tend to get up early in the morning. They plan their day, they get a head start, they're doing things before the rest of the world is awake oftentimes. They're working out, they're taking care of their body, they're meditating, they're doing all those great things that are setting themselves up for a successful day. And if you haven't read the book yet, it's called Miracle Morning. Miracle Morning, yeah, by Hal Elrod. And there's a Miracle Morning for real estate agents as well. So Harold Elrod is the author of the Miracle Morning, and then he partnered with Michael J. Mayer to write a book specifically for real estate agents. So if you haven't read that book, that's a really great one. And there's another great system called Win by Noon. And that's like a planner. And I think I actually just got my first one of it, but they have a planner that helps you plan your day too. And this is specifically for, they've got a version for mortgage lenders and they've got a version for real estate agents. And this has really specific things in here also. And it focuses on winning by noon, meaning you do your highest and best use activities before noon every day. So if the rest of the day is reactive, you're fine, but you've accomplished all your big wins, your big rocks early in the day. So definitely, you know, getting up early is important. But what that means is not that you're sleeping less, right? That is not what I'm trying to say here at all. Because you need your rest, of course. So it's important how you wrap up your day at the end of the night also. So to be able to have a miracle morning and to have a great success in the morning, you need to have your good wind down at night, right? So it means things like not having your phone right before bed, not being on your phone, looking again at Facebook, Instagram, emails, all that kind of stuff that's going to get your mind into this frizzy, the news, right? All those things are going to get your mind into a bad place. So read a book, right? Dim the lights when you're going upstairs. Keep your bedroom only for sleep. Those are like those basic things that folks talk about, right? Definitely turn off all your electronics, including the TV, right? Not before bedtime. And then read, plan for the next day. I write in a gratitude journal every night, or I haven't been every night, but we talk about gratitude every night. So literally our family habit at home, and we do this with our kids too, is before going to bed, it's what was the highlight of your day? What are you grateful for today? We talk about that every single night before bed. So that's part of our routine. So the kids, when we tuck them in, even though they tuck us in these days because they're teenagers and they stay up later than we do. But it's, what are you grateful for today? And what are you looking forward to tomorrow is what we have. That's literally our conversation at night before we go to bed, is what are you grateful for today? Or what are you happy about today? What was the best part of your day? Whatever way you want to put it. And what are you looking forward to tomorrow? Because we want them to realize that there's something to look forward to. We want them to be excited to wake up the next morning. We want to be excited to wake up the next morning. So that's part of our evening routine for us internally. And then journaling is a great idea too. So whether you journal in the morning or at night, that's a really, really great idea to implement and build as part of your habit, right? They say that that's a really good way to just get thoughts out. And affirmations, right? Either you do them at night, you do them in the morning, but affirmations are great. It's for me, it is that I am committed, I am decisive, I am accepting, right? Like I say those things to myself on a regular basis because that's who I want to be all the time. So wrapping up, super, super important. And that's it. So set yourself some, I want to make sure that was my last slide. Set yourself some time to really focus on this. I hope that just the little bit that we were able to do here got you excited to want to go and really author your life, right? And that's what I say, the 2021 chapter right now, guys, is a blank slate. Whatever happens with this pandemic, whatever happens in this world, you are still in charge of your life. And you'll deal with the roadblocks that come with whatever happens in this world. But you are in charge of your personal life and your chapter of 2021. So let's write it so that come December 9th, even December 31st, 2021, when you're sitting here and you're looking back and reflecting on the year, you're feeling super proud of yourself. You are saying, yeah, this is the way that I wanted the year to go. Not, oh, I don't know where the year went, right? That's not going to be a powerful feeling. So as you're doing this exercise in whatever place you find, fast forward and say, what does happy look like for me in the future? And what do I need to do to make sure that that's the future that I write for myself? Yeah. Questions, comments?
No, it was good. Thank you. I think you said something about a book.
Yeah.
A plan. Where do you get your focus planner?
So Full Focus Planner, if you can see the name, it's called Full Focus Planner.
Full focus, okay.
Yeah, I've been using this one for a couple years now. It's quarterly.
Okay.
They're quarterly books, basically. And they really are a good guide. If you just follow the script of them, they actually have videos on how to use them and stuff like that. So that one's a good general one. But then there's also one called Win by Noon. That's the other one that I mentioned.
Okay. I have.
Yeah, and Win by Noon is specifically for folks in your industry.
Okay.
They have them for your industry in mind. So that's another really good one. That one has the details of daily activities. So it'll help you. What I like about that, and I have been using, as I said, the Full Focus Planner forever, but I've been hearing a lot of people talk about Win by Noon. So I just got myself one just to see what it's like. But
okay.
It's got things like, I don't know if you can see.
I can see, yes.
Yeah. So it talks about, so it makes it easy to track our activities.
Okay.
Specific to the business. So this is really good too. Okay. So depending on what you're looking for.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. That was a very, very helpful exercise. I appreciated it.
Yeah.
Oh, good, Keith. I'm glad you're able to join us and that you got value out of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I wanted to share really quickly. I did a self